Good evening, viewers, and welcome once again to the Limit Racing. And tonight it is the turn of our Division 2 drivers to give us a tour of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Tonight, your commentary team is me once again, Bidley, joined by guest commentator Revengezilla. As I mentioned, the circus travels to Mexico this week with this 4.3 kilometer circuit, I should say, in the heart of Mexico City. The arena for round 4 this week. 36 laps of wheel-to-wheel action with 17 corners and a very tricky aerodynamic middle sector. It is the perfect balance of straight line speed and downforce that the drivers will have to contend with today. And as I mentioned, I am joined by Revengezilla this evening once again, after he joined me last week for the Division 2 race. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining me, as I said. And we've got nearly a full grid tonight, 19 drivers joining us today, and a couple of new drivers in the field. Is there anybody in particular that you are looking at tonight in terms of pace? Well, say it.
Who coincidentally are both reserving for the Ferraris tonight, so we don't have much of an idea of what their pace is like, so they could very much be a dark horse, or conversely could end up at the back. But we'll wait and see how they get on. But up front, it's with my prediction, it's going to be the normal front runners. We're going to be looking at Adrian, we're going to be looking at LWS Yorkie, and maybe a bit of Valente thrown in there, but we'll soon see through these first couple of qualifying sessions really who's got the pace at what can be said is a very tricky circuit.
Yeah, very tricky indeed. We saw yesterday with the Division 1 field, a lot of drivers struggling at this part of the track that Adrian is taking us through now, this tricky middle sector, the Maggots and Beckett's style corners. And Adrian was actually one of the drivers racing yesterday that succumbed to the challenges of this circuit, but he takes part again tonight, as we've already then got a retirement. CTX has retired down at turn 2, I think that is there, and it looks like he just got a bit hot on the curb and stuck it in the wall.
Not ideal. Not on the outlap anyway. He's going to have a really good idea of what the track conditions is like come the start of the race. That is going to be him starting dead last. So that's disaster really for the winner of the winner of the Canada of the winner, the winner of the Canadian Grand Prix, CTX. So not a great start to his qualifying session.
Yeah, I've just had some information on that. CTX saying his controller disconnected.
Yeah, whatever you say, mate. You just lost it on the curb.
Whether he's trying to spare himself some blushes there, I don't know. But yeah, as you said, CTX ain't looking like at the minute he will be starting at the back of the field, of course, depending if any other drivers drop out in this session. And we've got 4 drivers still on their outlap. Everybody out of the box apart from that retired Aston Martin as TJM crosses the line, then a 1:18.2 from him, and it's quickly beaten by Yorkie straight into the 1:17s.
Yeah, 1:17.0 is a very solid lap time for the first lap in Q1. He's immediately setting the pace then in front of his Alpine teammate, who is just behind on track. But Spenio, who's not been around much this season, but he's back again for Mexico, and he's straight on the pace then with a 17.1.
Yeah, it tucks in just behind LWS Yorkie then into P2 for now in this first qualifying session. We're riding with Law at the moment, a new driver to the league. We've got the late call-up for the race this evening, and just as we watch him then through that middle sector, gets a little bit too hot on the throttle.
You bastard.
Luckily avoids the DNF, but he's got to quickly move from there before he gets disqualified.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a gap then to get himself back out onto the circuit before the likes of Spenio come round. Spenio is on an in-lap, but Law very nicely indeed lets him through then and gets himself back onto the circuit and back into the pits for a front wing change.
Yeah, good etiquette there from our new driver, and he'll be hoping then to get into the pits, as you mentioned, for a new front wing and back around to get himself a time on the board then. Here's Adrian now for Red Bull this evening. He was racing for Alfa Romeo yesterday. Didn't have much luck, but would a change of car bring him better fortune then as he comes around the final corner. And he'll come and cross the line and looking to take the fastest time, and does by a couple of tenths then Adrian into P1.
Yeah, good lap, and a very decent banker then from Adrian after invalidating his first lap. He's straight on the pace then with the second lap, and with 12 minutes to go, we can start sort of looking after everyone's done their banker at what a cut-off time would be. And I think, if you're not in the 118s, you're going to be in trouble. And it'll definitely be down towards the low 18s.
Yeah, definitely.
For the people getting through this session.
Belente just squeezes into the 118s, 118.9. That might be just a bit too slow, as he's currently about 4 tenths off the back of the Lapio Finn, who was the last driver really to put a representative time on the board then. And we've got GRM Doctor now. I think we might just call him GRM, as we unfortunately have...
But I'm going to call him Doctor, I think.
We'll go Doctor. Well, we've already got a Doctor. Apparently that J19 TON likes to be called Doctor for some reason. No idea why.
Alright.
No idea at all.
It's not a great middle sector though from the Doctor, but he's managed to keep it within the track limits. And he also has no ERS remaining as he goes deep into turn number 12, and that's lost a lot of time there as he comes into sector 3 now to finish the lap. Again, taking quite a narrow line that's going to compromise his exit, and he's mugged me off by coming straight into the box.
Yeah, perhaps thinking then that it wasn't the quickest of times then, and choosing to pit and get a new set of boots onto his Ferrari then, following his teammate who is also in the pit lane at the moment and currently not in the session, so we have to try and see if we can get him back in to set a lap then. As we ride with Maxwell at the moment, racing this week. I believe he sat out last week around Portimao, but he's here back in the Papaya Orange of his McLaren T, coming through the middle sector now. Looks like he's doing a fairly decent job at the moment. Quite hitting the apexes there as he misses the Alpine that's around. I think that's TJM, who's currently waiting for a lot of cars to come past him. Who's dropped out. How has he managed to do that on full traction, TJ? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, who can spin round here on full traction?
As Maxwell
we talked about we talked about the McLaren driver up in front. Like, he will have come across the line with a 19.3. He's going to be quickly followed by Mini, who does an 18.5 then. Very tidy middle sector for Mini, actually. Very smooth on the throttle inputs, but it's still a lot of time to be made up there, as they're well over a second and a half away from the leaders.
Yeah, a bit more of a spread in the field tonight than we're used to seeing in Division 2 at the moment, but of course there is still 9.5 minutes then left of Q1, so plenty of time for the drivers to get a lap on the board. What's Jimmy Dog up to this week? He's pondering around the second sector now.
I was about to talk about the cult legend Jimmy Dog. He's back again, ready to cause some carnage in the TTL lobbies. He's on his first hot lap, and we're going to go on board with him now as he goes through the middle sector. It stretches from turn 7 then all the way through to turn 11, and it's all about what line you take. And I think whoever that was in front of him has put him severely offline, and it was the Lapio Finn then, who's seemed to have put Jimmy Dog off quite a bit there, and he's had to go a little bit harsh on the steering input, and that's caused the rear to come round.
Yeah, the Lapio Finn then, who was sideways at the end of that S complex of corners. So the Lapio Finn, the other cool legend of TTL, of course, looks like he's struggling at the moment as well, and he's into the box as well for a new set of tyres. And lots of the drivers in the pits at the moment taking it easy as it stands, but a driver going around out on track at the moment is Adrian. He's on a very slow lap there, but you would imagine that he would be through to Q2 with a 16.8, so whether we'll see him...
Oh, Jimmy Dog, careful lad.
Oh. Jimmy Dog just loitering there on the exit of the final corner.
He did accelerate into the wall to try and get out of the way.
Yeah. That's less than
He
ideal.
manages to get himself back into the box, and it's going to be both Mercedes drivers coming across the line simultaneously, and they're going to look to start their hot laps then.
Yeah, so Locker getting a little bit of a tow off Bully down the main straight here. Locker racing for Mercedes this evening as his role as a reserve driver. And both Mercedes, would you say, with those times revenge 17.9 and 18 flat, would you say they're through to Q2 as it stands?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. It's a very solid banker Q1 time. Looks like RSF1 Locker then is going to be on another push lap, and he's 2/10 up after the first sector. So we'll see. Yeah, Bully does get himself out of the way nicely, and we'll see what tyre life Locker has got left coming into the middle sector. So it starts off with a left-hander that's really important to cut as much as possible, and then the right-hander is where you can get beached on the curb and it can throw the rear round. And then these final two corners is all about taking a wide entry in order to carry as much speed through there. He's 2.5 temps up, Bidley, coming into the final sector then. So if he can keep this neat and tidy, he could maybe be looking at mid 1 minute 17s, which is definitely going to put him in good stead coming into the further qualifying sessions. He's going to take a wide entry up to the line. It's going to be a 17.6 then. Very good lap from the stand-in Mercedes driver.
Yeah, definitely then a 1:17.666. All the sixes for RSF1 Locker, then puts in P5 at the moment. Then I wonder
What
if
is
it's
his finger? Oh no.
TJM the wrong way on the circuit. What's happened there?
It has just started raining as well, Bidley.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that as we flicked through from Bully to TJ then. Yes, the rain has started to fall, so that might be why we saw then plenty of drivers
Adrian's
out
livid.
there. Yeah, he won't enjoy this at all, Adrian. We know what he's like for wet weather. Has Bully then got enough dryness on the track really to finish this lap? You'd imagine with the rain falling he's through anyway, but he's struggling through the middle part of the lap already then, so the rain falling pretty quickly here. He's still a 10th up on his previous time, so this was enough at the minute to put him into the 1:17s. He might not necessarily need to finish this lap, but he's going to do so anyway. Then there's GRM Doctor has retired. Was that on track? That was on track. That was
Oh.
it looked to be before turn 1. So
I didn't see.
I think, well, there was a Ferrari dot on the track and the other Ferrari's still in the pit lane then, so looks like GRM Doctor might not be taking any further part in qualifying. His teammate is yet to put a time on the board as he struggled then with connectivity issues, and now Jimmy Dog is looking to put a time down. He's on an outlap at the moment, and I think he might have missed the period here in which he can put a time in.
Maxwell has also just retired on track.
Ah. It's not ideal. Not ideal for McLaren. That'll be interesting to see if he takes part in Q2 then. Jimmy Dog is going to try and set a lap in the wets. He's got a 1:20.0 to beat. That would see him through to Q2.
Yeah, it's a big ask.
I think it was a big ask without the wet weather. But Jimmy Dog then will try.
It is a big ask. With no ERS, he's actually used all his ERS
on
the outlap.
We do love Jimmy Dog. Oh yeah, Jimmy Dog has got a special place in everyone's hearts here at TTL.
This is a battle for P17 by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Or P16.
Oh, he's very sideways indeed. Law is coming out onto track then. He has gone for the intermediates. He's got a 1:20.0 to beat, which is just over 3 seconds off the leader. Do you think there is a 3 seconds difference in the intermediate tyres, or do you think there's a bit more than that?
Absolutely. I think there's going to be more than that. I think if they're in the 125s, I'll be surprised. It's interesting, seeing as it is a battle then for P16, it's interesting that Law's on the intermediates, which you would like to think is the faster tyre. Will he be able to get a faster lap then than Jimmy Dog?
Yep. as Jimmy Dog comes around the final corner, and credit where credit is due to Jimmy Dog, he has kept it pointing in the right way for the entire lap. It's not particularly quick though, 1:28 from him and 8 seconds off the time he needed to get through to Q2. So I think it's safe to say that Jimmy Dog will be joining CTX and TJM out in this session, and we're almost pretty much certain as well that Law then is going to be joining them on his TTL debut after his connectivity issues meant he was unable to set a lap in the dry then, and those intermediate tyres are going to struggle to get below that 1:20 set by GRM Doctor. Anyway, looking at the Twitch chat there, we've got Lapio Finn saying we can't have a rain without rain, a race without rain, can we? That's very true. We do seem to be getting a lot of wet
pretty
weather
much
races.
every week now.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of wet
pretty
weather
much every
races. Don't know what's happened there.
week.
Climate change.
Hopefully nobody spoils the race weather for us.
Yeah, we just can see what we get going in to the race. And nice to see we've got Diamond in the chat again, of course. Diamond, who very much struggled yesterday, didn't have the race all races.
He was shocking yesterday, absolute shambles.
Yeah, I think he lost his P4 in the championship pretty quickly after DNFing on the first few laps. You got yourself in the chat. Nice to see you in the chat. Nice to see you in the chat.
Thanks, mate. Happy to be here.
David Lawface is here too. Locker as well, watching on and racing as well, of course. Nice to see him. Minnie saying he got blocked in his first lap.
Law is having some trouble on this lap. He does need to beat a 1:28 then if he wants a shot at P16 on the grid. So we'll see what he can do coming into the final sector, but I'm not too confident that this is going to be faster than a 1:28. But we'll see if he can get the power down nice and early. Oh yeah, he's going to the box.
Pretty unconventionally coming into the box as well, it should be said. Not quite the optimum line back into the garage then. So
I don't think he meant to come into the box. I think he just lost the rear.
Yeah, that's not ideal from Law as he comes into the pits. He will start 17th then. And that then is pretty much your starting order for, or your final order, I should say, for Q1 then. And we have lost then coming into Q2. Jimmy Dog, who will start P16. Law in P17. CTX and TJM then, who all are out of the first part of qualifying.
Oh, Adrian's come out on intermediates, the plum, so we've got to wait for him.
Yeah, maybe he's just getting some practice. He probably needs it, to be honest.
Doctor has come into the chat and asked if we call him Doctor over GRM. So
yeah, we'll go with that then.
We will now call you GRM.
We'll go with Doctor.
Grim?
We'll go
should
with
we call him Grim?
Grim.
Grim.
Grime.
Yeah. Grime. Unfortunately, Grime, you'll learn in this league we have a nickname for near enough everybody. So
we'll go with Doctor.
Speaking of nicknames, we've got Mr. Invalidation coming down the third sector now. Viking Beast.
Yeah, we do love a bit of the Viking Beast.
We love the Viking Beast. What a boy.
Yeah.
He's going to be followed by Valente then. Valente is going to come across the line and he's going to do a 1:26.6. So we'll bear that in mind if it's another intermediate session next up. But a 1:26.6 then.
Yeah.
Followed by... I don't know what Adrian set. It doesn't say. It says he's just set a 1:16.857, but considering his pole time is a 1:16.856,
yeah, he's rapid.
I doubt that indeed.
He's got 1,000th off his dry time on the intermediates. he's done
Jimmy
great.
Dog, say what's his nickname? Jimmy Dog, your nickname is fucking Tosspot.
He's got many. He has got many nicknames, to be fair. Anyway.
I'm not good. I'm pretty sure you can change your Twitch user, but I'm not sure how.
Yeah, you can change it somehow. Ask TJ, I think he changed his not long ago. Anyway, there is your final order then in Q1. It was Adrian that was quickest in for Red Bull. A couple of tenths ahead of LWS Yorkie and Aspenio in P2 and P3. Viking Beast, Locker, Plixty, Darth Grey Fox, Nigel Piggle, Bully, and I'm Now Decent, which is I'm Not Good to other people that watched this league before, who round off the top 10. And I've already mentioned the bottom 4 then. They are Jimmy Dog, Law, CTX, and TJM, who will start from the back of the grid after his disqualification for being an absolute fraud in Q1.
Yeah, it says in the race director, disqualified, incident, wrong way.
Yeah, there is a right way to point an F1 car, TJ, and
yeah, towards the finish line if possible.
I think we'll get a compass for that man for his birthday. As the rain then seems to be falling very heavily.
Yeah, that's started pissing it down a bit more. Oh, yeah, but it's full wet.
Yeah.
God, this is gonna be carnage. That middle sector is going to be a graveyard.
Well, it does kind of take what we know out the window. We know that probably Adrian would have been, on paper really, the quickest driver in the dry round here. He's had phenomenal pace in past races at Mexico. But in the full wets, yeah, I mean, anything can happen. But you know, so he might just put the slicks on here. He probably got a better chance with the slicks.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, we're gonna have to cut away from this a second for some breaking news in the football. I know you like the breaking news in the football.
Oh, I do love the breaking news in the football. What's going on in the football?
Would you like to have a guess at the breaking news?
Is it something to do with Liverpool?
No.
Oh, okay.
Dons are 1-0 up against West Ham under-21s in the EFL.
Oh, yes. Let's have that for the Dons.
Can we have a guess of it?
We love that.
They've ruined the competition because now Premier League teams get to put their under-21s in the competition to play against League 1 and 2 teams. But what they do is they just put their first team players that are coming back from injury in there. So you end up like, we're playing West Ham at the minute. Let's go through their starting lineup.
West Ham start. What we're doing here on the outlap of Q2, we're going through West Ham under-21 starting lineup. This is top quality entertainment.
Way, it actually doesn't matter what their starting lineup is because they're getting dicked about by Dons.
That's always embarrassing for any team, of course. Dons taking about 10 years to score a goal. That is
yeah, it's not a great season. But we'll have some more relevant news. As no one's actually on their hot lap yet.
They are.
It's going to be
the
Lapio Finn first.
Lapio Finn.
Whilst he goes down to turn 1, Bayern 5-0 win.
Great result. Great result for Bayern Munich.
Great result. Pat on the back forever. If you're a Bayern fan, well done.
Yeah, well done to those Germans in the chat following.
Anyway, on board then with Lapio Brit as he comes through the first sector then, and it's pretty treacherous already, Bidley. But he navigates turn 1, 2 and 3 nicely, and he gets the power down then. DRS not open due to the weather, but he's down towards turn number 4 where he gets the braking point spot on. And he looks like he's getting the car rotated very nicely. These next 2 corners of turn 6 is where you really test out the rotation of the car, but it looks once again like it's rotating nicely. It'd be interesting to see if the drivers have put a bit more front wing involved.
Yeah.
And this is where he's really starting to struggle then, coming through the second sector. Really having to slam the brakes on mid-S section, which is not ideal, but I don't know if you find this quite satisfying, Billy, but we've got 15 drivers all on a hot lap at the minute. So I'll be interested to see at the end of this lap how many have actually set one and how many invalidate.
Yeah, I imagine there'll be quite a few drivers that get caught out, especially in the middle part of the lap then, but it is going to be the Lapio Finn to put a time on the board, and that is the target for everybody else. And a 1:30.6 smashed by Bully straight away into the 1:30.3s. And next over the line, we've got Nigel Piggle. He's 1:30.9 for the Haas. They need to find some pace from somewhere. The Doctor back into the pit lanes then. And I don't know what happened there, but we've got Plixty now.
Plixty's next.
Round the final corner into P4 with a 131.1. And the Viking Beast, the legend that is the Viking Beast, to P1 29.9. First driver into the 29s in the extreme wet conditions. And Adrian there not living up to his name there and puts in a 129.8. Which you would say that the weather stay like this probably would see him through to Q3, but of course it all depends if the track dries up or not.
Yeah, last one across the line then. And that is everybody set a lap so far then. So only 2 people to invalidate there. One of the big shocks then is that Lewis Yorkie invalidates. And he's on the back foot then immediately as he does not have a banker lap.
Yeah. On the back foot, as you said, and he's now got a Red Bull ahead of him that pulls out of the way, so he can carry on round. I imagine the wet tyres won't be too degraded after that. And he's got a very sporting fish crash helmet on as well in the wet weather, so let's see if that fish crash helmet can give him a bit of extra pace in the wet weather as he comes through sector 2 then. Very tentative on the throttle, but as everyone knows, this full traction driver making it look easy at the moment. I imagine most of them, to be honest, will be on full traction in these conditions. As he's coming through.
Not me. Not me, mate.
Yeah, okay.
Not on my day off.
I'll believe it when I see that. As LWS Yorkie then round the final corner now in his Alpine. Can he get anywhere near the 29.8 that's been set so far as he crosses the line? And it's quicker, 29.5. Beating Adrian by 0.3 then and takes the fastest time of the session.
Yeah, it's a big middle finger to the rest of the field from Lewis Yorkie as he tops the grid then by 0.3 ahead of Adrian, who was notoriously a very, very good qualifier. So to be 0.3 of a second faster, that's quite impressive. But it could also be a case of every other driver did one lap and didn't seem to improve on a second. So Yorkie managed to get the heat into the tyres and make a second lap work.
Yeah, and of course, that second fastest lap that he set, he would have had the experience of the first go round. Looks like he's put that to good use then with that 29.5. The rain still pouring here then in Mexico as the Lapio Finn now into P3 with a very handy lap of 29.9. Just beats the Viking Beast and puts him down to P4 then as Bawley off the final corner abandons the lap and comes into the pits then. Nigel Piggle also invalidating at the moment, so too is Maxwell. And it's Espenio then now coming through the second sector. He's about 1.5 up on his lap. This might be enough to just get ahead of his teammate but not do any further damage up the fields unless he can have a stonking final sector. But I don't know if he is going to come into the pits or not. He's coming a bit slowly off the final corner here. Very, very careful on the traction. Crosses the line and he does have a great final sector. Into P5 then, a 130.1 for him. That puts Valente now into P11.
Yeah, it looks like, thinking about the weather, I'm now decent. Previously called I'm not good, as is tampering away, having a look at the intermediates. But looking at the onboard here from Lewis Yorkie, it looks soaking. Can't imagine the intermediates are going to be appropriate at all for conditions like this. But we'll wait and see as the session evolves. We've got 6.5 minutes then left on the clock, and Doctor, who's yet to set a lap then, is going to come round to start his, I think, 3rd attempt now at a hot lap, and he's got no battery left.
We will need to get a time on the board, and it's going to be a 31.0. At the moment, there's Nigel Piggle then goes into P3 for Haas. We've been riding with Darth Grey Fox then through Sector 1. He was slightly down on his time, I believe, for the first sector, but did he make up time in the second? He definitely did, half a second in fact then, So this is looking better from the Red Bull driver. Runs a little bit wide there off the right hander. Does pick up the car just in time to avoid invalidation from running wide. As he comes around the penultimate corner, now around the final corner. This corner just wants to throw you around in a circle, as we've seen from Lauren Q1, who comes straight into the pits. Darkberry Fox sets a time, lost a couple of tenths there in the final sector, stays P10 but with an improved time then, 1:30.7.
Yeah, 30.7 is still a pretty respectable lap. You'd like to think that he needs to be back into the pits then for a change of tyres and another go, because you've got 5 fast drivers behind him ready to knock him down into the drop zone. So Doctor is coming round then to finish his lap. We'll see where it leaves him. It doesn't look like it's going to be quick enough initially. It's going to give him a 31.9, which is the slowest of our times, but he's only 3 tenths off. So with another lap and maybe some ERS in the tank, that could have been enough.
Yeah, I think that ERS probably would have hindered him slightly, but it does look like the rain has slightly eased them. So we're not getting the rainfall that we had previously, and I'm just wondering, with 4.5 minutes to go now, it might be not enough time for someone to chance it. As I say that, I'm Not Decent comes off the pits on intermediates. But I don't think we're going to see many more drivers take to those green walled intermediate tyres. There's a lot of standing water still for it only to clear up in about 4 minutes' time.
Yeah, I think it's quite ambitious to come out on the track, but the Lapio Finn and I'm Now Decent are going to try it, and I'm sure we're going to go on board with them, Bidley, when they come round to start their lap.
Yeah, we're watching Plixty at the minute. We know definitely has pace. He had plenty of pace last week in Portugal. Q3 appearance there for the Aston Martin.
It's a second out.
Yeah, looking to make it 2 Q3 appearances in a row in his only 2 races in TTL. It should be said he didn't take part in the first 2. Was out in Portugal last time around, and he's here today in Mexico, of course. And as you mentioned, a second up through sector 2. What's he done through sector 3? He's about a second up again, so it's 1:30.1 from Plixty P7. With the track improving, Vengula, so surely everybody has to be out there and just keep going around while this track dries up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at just the weather itself rather than the track, and it definitely does look like it's eased up. And I think a lot of the drivers are starting to realise that now, and the ones that are currently on track on the wets are in trouble here, because they're potentially not going to have time. Like the likes of Borley and Adrian might not actually have time to get back in and get back out. So they need to make a decision relatively quickly on what their plan is in terms of changing the tyres. But we look at people who can really benefit from this. We've got Doctor, I'm Now Decent, Dark Grey Fox, can all really benefit from this drying track and see if they can boost themselves up into the top 10.
Lapio Finn, who's on intermediates at the moment, was 3 tenths down then through sector 1, but there is still 2.5 minutes to go here, so this now what has become potentially a rapidly drying track, but the second sector looks a little bit of a different beast, and the Lapio Finn invalidates there through the S complex of corners, and he's 6 tenths now down, even with that slight corner cut, so perhaps not quite there just yet, but we might get there on the final runs in a couple of laps' time.
Yeah, let me stop you there then, Bidley, because Dons have just gone 2-0 up then against West Ham under-21s.
Well, that is the crucial news of the day, as Plixty takes the fastest time in 29.4 for Aston Martin, and the Dons take a commanding lead then against West Ham's junior team. Absolutely love to see that.
It's a commanding lead as well. There's no coming back from 2-0.
Yeah, definitely then. So I'm Not Decent, a couple of tenths up on the intermediates then. So he's making a small gain here, but his wet weather time wasn't particularly quick either. But he's going to cross the line then. It's a 1:31.0, stays P13. Then Espenia, one of those wets, and takes the fastest time now, a 29.1 from him. What's LWS Yorkie doing then? If you backed anyone on the intermediate drivers, you'd have to say it might be someone like Yorkie, who could get them fired up pretty quickly. And we're about to get a sign of his time as he comes around this middle sector. But the middle sector, to me, with Vengula, just looks like it's way too wet. Way too wet for these intermediates.
he's backed out of that lap. He really struggled for grip then at turn number 10. He's going to charge a bit of that battery up, and he's going to go again. I don't think it's crucial that he gets a lap in here, so he needs to really be careful. Because I think, he should be safe really with his 29.5. As whilst we were talking, Espenio has gone top, and his teammate Big Maxwell is going to look to get himself up towards, the area that his teammate's currently occupying. He's going to come across the line then. It's a good lap from Maxwell. It's a 29.7, and that's on the wet tyres, Biddle.
Yeah, 29.7 from Big Maxwell. Perhaps the bigger talking point, Lapio Finn then does finally find improvement on his intermediates. 29.1 from the Williams man then. P2 from him. He still struggled with the second sector, but the last part of the lap then looked like it was more suited to those intermediate tyres, and he gained a lot of time there then. And I'm just wondering now if all the drivers really that aren't out there on the intermediates, like Belente, who's currently in the pits in P9, whether he is going to get through to Q3 now, because the times are surely going to improve here.
Yeah, we've got Naughty Naughty, I'm Now Decent, cutting all of the stadium section in order to start a lap in time. So we'll go on board with him then, as he's on the 2-lap old intermediate tyres. We'll see in terms of propelling himself into the top 10. It is going to be a little bit naughty if he does make his way through. Then Darth Grey Fox comes across the line. It's not enough. Belente is across the line also, and he's into the box, and it's not enough. So that's 2 drivers definitely out there. Viking Beast, he was 4.5 tenths up after sector 1. How many tenths up is he? He's a second up then after sector 2. So if he can have a tidy final sector, then this is going to see him through and potentially up to the top spot then. As never mind Lewis Yorkie then. The track must be drying out, Biddle, because he has just gone over a second quicker than Maxwell.
Yeah, 27.9 from him then to take the fastest time. Now Adrian is the next driver improving on a set of intermediates, as he's going to cross the line. P8 at the moment. He does need to get this time in, you would think. Crosses the line. P2 from him just behind LWS Yorkie then. So the last driver that can have a say into Q3 is I'm Now Decent, who crosses the line into P7 then. 29.2 from him. But I'm wondering, Revenge, whether the stewards might have something to say about that corner cut at the final part of qualifying there.
Yeah, this not great. He does know the rules. He's been league racing with us for a very long time. But well then, big talking point then. Championship rivals, both Borley and Belente, out in Q2. They decided against the intermediate tyres and maybe are going to live to regret it, but it looks like, Biddle, there wasn't too much difference between the intermediates and the wets, and Viking Beast was able to put in a really solid time at the end. But it's Lewis Yorkie and Adrian who lead the way, just as they did in Q1, and definitely have the upper hand then going into Q3.
Yep, those 2 drivers getting the intermediates right, but as you mentioned, great time from Viking Beast. And the 5 drivers that we lose, and Borley, that's probably a surprising name down there, as too is Nigel Piggle, Belente, Darth Grey Fox, and Doctor then on his TTR debut, all out in Q2 then. And the question is now, of course, as we go into Q3s, what is the weather conditions like? And it is still raining slightly then. And
it's inters by the looks of it.
Yeah, you would imagine intermediates then for the drivers. As we should probably say at this point then,
what should we say then?
We have got now TTL, proud to be an affiliate of Twitch. So for all you viewers out there that have got Amazon Prime and fancy putting your subs in, put your sub in, and you won't have to watch adverts. That's about all we can offer at the minute, but you won't have to watch adverts. And we haven't actually had a sub to the... Oh, there we go. Nigel Piggle. Nigel Piggle with the subscribe. There we go. Straight in. The first ever subscriber to the TTL Twitch. There we go. That was something new that happened today. So there we go. We can find.
Just so you know, guys, all subs that go towards the stream will be helping Bidley heat his home this Christmas.
Yeah.
So it'd be very appreciated if you could get your Twitch, Amazon Prime subs in. If you want to drop a donation as well to also fill his fridge, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah. For every sub I get, I'll have to wear one less layer of clothing. It's winter.
Yeah. But the thermostat will go up by 3 degrees.
Yeah.
Until eventually it's 40 degrees and he's in his boxers.
Yeah, as it is. We're now 60 followers towards the 100 followers that we need to see me drink milk out of a shoe. So, yeah, just 40 off until we get to that. That will be live streamed, of course. After a race, I think I plan on doing it one day. We'll see when we get there. That'll be interesting.
When you take part in a race. The day you take part in a race is going to be an interesting day.
No, I mean, I'll do it after I do commentary on a race.
Yeah, we'll do face cam.
Yeah, well, I can get my phone camera on the screen pretty easily, so that'll be interesting. Anyway, well, the Lapio Finn is on a lap for Williams here, and the rain almost looks like it has stopped. It has really slowed down now. So whether we see slicks before the end of the session remains a question. But for now, the intermediate's definitely the tyre to be on there. And the Lapio Finn Revengula is going to lead the drivers round.
Yeah, as you said, he is the first driver round then, and he's going to be the first one to experience the conditions as the rain looks to be getting really light now, and I'm wondering whether it's going to be dry towards the end of the session. We're only getting a few drops on the screen, and the track doesn't look too wet at all. It doesn't look like there's too much spray coming off the back of that Williams. As we see him come through the second sector then, as he takes 8 and 9 really well indeed. He's trying to stay off the curbs at turn 10. And we'll have a look at the second sector split then. It's a 1:02.6. We'll compare that to the drivers behind them. We've got Mini on a 1:03.1 and Spenio on a 1:02.7. So it looks like the Lapio Finn has got the upper hand as he comes into the final sector now then. He's going to come across the line. 24.2 then. Let's see how that compares.
25.2 then from Mini in the Haas. Spenio 24.6 from him then. So the times have come tumbling down then from the end of Q2. Shockingly, Adrian invalidated his lap on the intermediates, but I think the rain has completely stopped now then. And with 8 minutes now left on the clock, LWS Yorkie, who chose not to go out on the intermediates, has now selected the soft tyres in the pits. And we will see then if LWS Yorkie chooses to come out sooner rather than later on those soft tyres. You'd imagine if that is the case with Revengula, all of these laps now really are kind of in vain, because they'll improve quite an awful lot on the slick tyres.
Yeah, a couple of drivers haven't even bothered to come out of the pit, and then they're not going to risk the DNF, dropping the car in the wet weather. And coincidentally, it's the 2 drivers that have been the strongest in qualifying so far. It looks like LWS Yorkie has just come out the box on softs, and it doesn't look quick enough yet for soft.
Yeah, very quick out to the circuit then, so looking to put some rubber down, at least for everybody else, on those slick tyres. And this is now a situation of it could be the last driver over the line, really, to set the fastest time with the track ever drying, and it's definitely still slightly too wet for those slick tyres as Yorkie completely overshoots the apex of turn 4 now. And I'm curious to see how he handles this middle sector on his outlap now. And Maxwell sets the fastest time at 23.9, then 6.5 minutes now in the clock. So those drivers still out there on intermediates need to get back in to put on a set of slick tyres. And Yorkie seemed okay there through the second sector with Revengula, so I'm just wondering if now it might be dry enough for those slick tyres.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what lap time he does then. We know that these guys are capable of getting into the 1:16 in the dry. So we'll have a look. But yeah, it does look dry indeed. There's no more drops of rain dropping on the screen. In terms of bankers, we've got Viking Beast, who is the top of the timing board so far, but we expect to see all of these laps beaten as the drivers come into the pits then to put on the softs.
Yeah, LWS Yorkie now then going around sector 1 on his Red Bull soft tyres then, so be interesting to see what sort of a time he does through the first sector. It does look though like it is dry enough now for those slick tyres, not a lot of wet patches on the track, so he's definitely at the minute doing okay. It says purple sector 1, but we know that can lie sometimes, and it was a 29.5, which I imagine would be quickest anyway. As he barrels it into sector 2. Now has to be careful of the curbs still, they might be slightly damp, not quite completely dry yet. Doesn't want to bottom that Alpine out and go shooting off the track. But now as he comes through sector 2, it's a 59.6, and this time then, if he keeps it valid, you would imagine would shoot straight to the top of the times on the left hand side of your screen.
Yeah, we'll see what he manages then as he comes around the final corner. As he understeers horrifically, nearly makes contact with the wall. I think it was Bottas who did that in real life, wasn't it? And he's still about 3 seconds off what we would expect in perfect conditions. So expect to see Lewis Yorkie make his way round to the box then before coming round for another run.
The one driver still out there on intermediates at the moment is Mini then in the Haas. He needs to get in pretty sharp and get a set of the soft tyres on then. Lots of drivers still leaving it a little bit longer to get out on track. One driver that is out on track is Adrian, but not for very long because he now comes into the bits and will look to change those soft tyres then for one final run in this Q3 session. The Lapio Finn is the only other driver at the minute out there on soft tyres about to start a lap. And here we go then from the Lapio Finn Revenger. If we want to follow this lap around, and you would expect this to challenge the pace of Lewis Yorkie at the moment on provisional pole.
I'd like to think so, as the conditions are definitely improving. Again, I think some of these drivers are choosing to go a little bit early. It's going to be a case of, maybe the last person that comes across the line is going to get the best of the conditions. So, definitely anticipated that both Maxwell and the Lapio Finn have come out a little bit early. Hopefully this doesn't, hamper their qualifying position too much. Yeah. As I expect the drivers yet to come out are really going to see the best of the conditions.
Yeah, definitely then. So we've got 2 drivers out at the moment, Plixty and I'm now decent, joining those drivers on the circuit now. Adrian 2 and 3 minutes to go of this Q3 session, so still time for a lap or 2 from these drivers as the Lapio Finn then comes around the final sector. This has looked like a tidy lap from the Williams driver, but as you mentioned, it might just be a little bit too soon in the session to get the best out of the track, but crosses the line and he's into the 118s. It's a 1:18.0 from him then, nearly a couple of seconds ahead of LWS Yorkie in P2.
Yeah, well, he's making a bit of a mistake here, and he's using all his ERS down turn 1, and he could really do with having a cooldown lap, charging that battery, and then going again. He's got the time to do so. So I think this is a big mistake here for the Lapio Finn.
Yeah, the Lapio Finn then, with 2 minutes to go, is definitely got the best out of those tyres, but whether he can get another lap remains to be seen. As the AlphaTauri then of Viking Beast coming out on track now as we're following with Maxwell through sector 2 then. There's a yellow flag out ahead of him for a slow Red Bull. I think Adrian on his outlap trying to get a bit of space. As Maxwell then looking to be the latest driver to take provisional pole then. Has looked like a decent lap so far, perhaps not quite as quick though as the Lapio Finn, but we'll have to see through this final sector whether he's made any gains there as he comes now across the line, and it is enough then for provisional pole, a 17.7, but you would imagine he's only going to be on provisional pole for a very short amount of time then.
Yeah, it looks like the drivers behind are all making big improvements. One driver who is on a lap at the minute then, it's Espenio, and he's coming around the final sector. It does say a 5 minute 20 lap time at the top though, and I'm not sure that's correct.
Yeah, I don't think he's actually on a lap. I think he's on an out lap, but it's not registered for
Okay,
some reason.
yeah, the game's broken. All right, then we'll cut over to Plixty then as he comes through the second sector now, and look how much more grip he's got, and the track looks completely dry, Biddle.
Yeah, it looks bone dry now. It's 4.5 seconds up then on his previous time. He still needs an improvement through the final sector, which I imagine he will get then in these dry conditions. So it's anyone's guess at the moment to see if this Aston Martin is going to take provisional pole away from Maxwell then, and he crosses the line, and it is then provisional pole, a 17.5 from him, but still we'll probably see quicker times than that, as there is Adrian then with a 16.8. That's more like it from the Red Bull, and that then is a real gauntlet for the other drivers to try and beat then. With 5 seconds left on the clock, this will be everyone's last effort in the session.
Yeah, the man to look out for then, who's the only one that I can see potentially challenging Adrian, is LWS Yorkie, and he has just started a lap, so I think it's a perfect opportunity to go on board with some other drivers then, whilst we wait for LWS Yorkie to make his way around. One driver who is massively up on his time is Espenio. He's going to come across the line, and it's only enough for P3 then with a 17.6. Next one across the line is going to be Viking Beast, and he is 4 seconds up on his time. He's going to need to make some big gains in the final sector if he wants to be close enough. As he goes, it's P2 then, and it's very close from second all the way down to fifth.
Yeah,
Next person across the line is going to be Locker.
Yeah, RSF on Locker now then, coming through the final sector. We haven't seen a dry time from him yet. This will be his first lap in the dry conditions for the Mercedes team, then filling in tonight for Gopher, who's on his holidays and not doing a bad job of it either, then provisionally into P3 then with a 17.5. Plixty's on a slow lap, so he's not going to improve from fourth. As to his Mini, and LWS Yorkie then
Lord.
does take pole position away from Adrian at the death with his last effort of the session. A 16.4 from the Alpine driver. That is a fantastic time, and that is how you take pole position at Mexico.
Breaking news, Bidley. The game has finished 2-0. Dons have won. Not a shock, really. We're unbelievable at football.
That is the breaking news here. Nothing to do with this man.
I shit on the Yorkie.
That fish helmet taking him to pole position then in TTL. And there then is your top 10 for the grid. It is LWS Yorkie who does take pole here in this Division 2 race around Mexico. Adrian Viking Beast and rounding off the top 3. Locker lines up on row 2 alongside the AlphaTauri in P4. Plixty P5, then it's a McLaren 6 and 7 then, so not a bad showing for those drivers, but perhaps might have felt they could have done more should they time their laps a little bit better, along with the Lapio Finn, who went quite early as well. P8 for him, Mini in P9, and I'm Now Decent, not able to set a decent time in Q3, unable then to set a time on the dry tyres, start in P10.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how some of our drivers starting towards the back are able to make their way through. We know TJM last week managed to get from, I think it was 17th to on the podium. So we'll look to see what he can do. But also championship rivals Valente and Borley are starting 11th and 13th. So we'll see what they can do and see if they can make some positions up on the early laps.
Yep, I'm quickly going to go and grab a glass of water, so I'll leave you to talk about the football with everyone for a minute. I'm sure they'll love that.
I don't even know the results of the football.
Give everyone a rundown of the football at half-time in the Champions League.
Oh, right. Well, we don't look at Champions League because Champions League is wank. So we'll go through the League One scores, everybody. Burton 1. Oh, I've already got it wrong. Fleetwood 1. Burton 0. I know you're all excited for that game. Cheltenham 0, Bolton 0. What an absolute barnstormer of a game that is. Don't leave early because that one's a goal fest. Next one then, Ipswich, Cambridge United. Also 0-0. You guessed it. And for an absolute goal fest, Plymouth 1, Sheffield United 1. Why have I said United? Sheffield Wednesday 1. Elsewhere, let's have a look. Is there any good football going on? Inter Milan 1-0 up against Barcelona. Oh dear. Yeah, that probably.
I didn't hear that. What's happened?
Barcelona are 1-0 down.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. That's not gone very well.
Inter Milan.
Inter Milan. Big shame for them. We've had some subs on the Twitch. David Lawface.
Have we?
Our beloved David Lawface giving us a sub.
Cheers,
Thank you very much for that.
Cheers, mate.
David Lawface. You can have a kiss from me when I next see you in person, if I see you at the end of the month. I think I usually kiss everyone on the cheek anyway when I see them for some reason. Don't know why. It's strange. But anyway, Diamond has also subscribed, and Nigel Pickle as well, as we already mentioned. So absolutely beautiful.
Thanks, everyone.
Beautiful.
Bidley will be able to heat his home this Christmas.
Yeah. If we camera at this rate, I might be able to get a few fancy lights for the front of the house. Power them.
Very lights, yeah.
Power them up. As well done, I think. A big congratulations to the Division 2 boys, who I think for the second time only this season, in the 8 races we've had now, we've not had an early ready up. So
big up to the. I mean,
off.
yesterday I didn't even get a chance to pick my tyres.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Hats
that
off.
fast.
Hats off. Considering we've got 2 completely new drivers as well tonight. Well done. Well done for following the
Big
rules.
ups to them.
Well
Hats
done.
on the blood clot back.
So Lapio Finn says up the fucking Bidley's Christmas. We love the Lapio Finn.
And he has cold Christmases. We have, in comparison.
Anyway, Jimmy Dog's back in for the start of the race. He won't be able to take control of his car, though, I don't think, unless he gets in there pretty sharp. Looking at the tyre choice then throughout the field, the front 2 on the mediums, the majority of drivers on the hards. Mini, Bally, Nigel Pickle, Darth Grey Fox, and the Doctor then joining the front 2 on the mediums. And I'm now decent, the only driver in the field then to go with the soft tyres. Is that a bit of a bold strategy there, Avengula?
Say it again, sorry. I was trying to invite Jimmy Dog to the game.
For I'm now decent on the soft tyres? Is that...
Yeah, he's lost his head.
Yeah.
If he ain't in the top 3 by turn 4, then it's a failure.
Top 3 from P10. Should be said, I think, that usually in the real world.
Yeah, race start. Not fair. Did you see midfield Maestro start yesterday when he was the only one on mediums and everyone else was on hards?
Yeah, he did do the business.
He flew past a lot of us off the line.
I was going to say, usually in Mexico, it is the guy in P3 is usually the one leading after turn 1. That would be Viking Beast, who I think a lot of people would love to see Viking Beast lead this race after turn 1. But I imagine starting on the hard tyres, whereas those in front on the mediums, those Adrian's just done a fantastic job of dropping it in the dry and the formation.
Yeah, pretty sure he did the same thing yesterday and all.
Yeah.
Or was that Drobel? I think it was Drobel.
We'll just say it was
anyway,
him. We'll just say it was him. Probably
let's have a guess then in chat quickly. How many disqualifications are we going to get on the park?
Yeah. Yeah. How many disqualifications? Put your numbers in now. Put your numbers in quickly before they line up. Don't do it after, because otherwise you're just forwarding it. Really? As Aldrich Shorky then pulls into the first grid box.
Right, Diamond says 4, Drobel says 9, David says 6.
9 from Drobel.
It's not looking good. Drobel has not got faith in the scum Div 2s. There's 1. There's 2.
Adrian. He's been set a long way back as well. And the Mercedes behind him of RSF1 Locker pointing very much then towards...
Doctor has parked up on the grid and then put 15.
Nice. It's a good
So the answer was 2 then. Diamond wins then. He was closest.
Yeah. Well done, Diamond. You can have absolutely nothing for getting that right, as Jimmy Dog leaves us once more,
Oh,
unfortunately.
no. Who is that Mercedes at the back that is pointing? Look at Borley. Look at his
Both
car.
Mercedes pointing very much sideways. We are waiting then for the red lights. We've got green flags, but no.
Go!
Oh, migrating host, that's gone well. Adrian leaves the session then, and we are now going to get underway then with the 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away. We're going. Adrian's
Oh, no.
AI is off to an absolute flyer. Not too
Beast the
sure
top down.
what's happened there. Viking Beast with cursing very much there. It's all going on at the back. I think there's been an incident between Law and TJM. Not too sure what's happened. TJ gets the penalty for that. TJ, stop attacking our new drivers, please. That's not how
We've
you
only been
want.
here 2 minutes
That's
left.
not how you want him to start his first league race in CTL, but hopefully
Oh, no.
there's a chance for him to get back into it. Viking Beast has gone from 3rd to 17th then. Espenio
I'm
now
now decent.
up to P2.
18.
I know Decent's had a mare on those soft tyres. It's all gone off at the start, but what's happened then is Adrian's AI somehow disconnected and then launched off the line. That's not ideal.
Adrian's AI has just taken the lead of the race. Nice. But Yorkie on the medium tyres is all over the back of the Spenio. And he's already used 50% of his battery, and we're not even at the end of lap 1.
It should be said.
Yorkie is not messing about then. He wants to get onto the back of Adrian before he gets away.
Yeah, Espenio, though, has used the same amount, it should be said. So, as to as Adrian's AI, who now leads, I don't know if Adrian's back in the car, but if he is, I don't know what to make of that start, to be honest. I don't really know what we do about that one.
We run with it.
Yeah, we'll carry on for now, I guess. As Yorkie does get past Espenio, then down into turn 1, the Alpine up to 2nd now, and defending against the McLaren then, that had got a fantastic start, still has started well up 3. Nigel Piggle up 7 then to P5. As we mentioned, Viking Beast with the most unfortunate of starts, and Law then, in his first race in TTL, has to take to the pit lane after that damage from the collision with TJM then. TJ, please stop attacking our new drivers. We want them to stay.
We'll be seeing TJM in the stewards report, no doubt, after that monstrosity on lap 1. Anyway, then we'll cut forward to the midfield battle, and we have got 2 of our URC admins who have joined us with our partnership, and they're battling over P7. Mini has started on the medium tyres. Maxwell electing for the hards, and he's going to look to hold his URC companion behind him. But it's going to be difficult because Mini has the better tyre, and it looks like he's got a good exit out of the final corner. And Maxwell, is he going to burn some of that battery to defend? He's not. He's already down to 30%, and Mini's going to get the move done.
Yeah, I think the best thing for Maxwell here is just to concede the place. Doesn't need to lose time fighting Mini here. He knows that tyre advantage is very much going to help Mini. Oh, just as I say that, well, Maxwell into the back then of the Haas, and, well, I wonder if that will be going into the stewards. But Mini has carried on somehow, and now has got the Doctor then in P7.
Got the Doctor.
Fighting with Maxwell, and is now up to P7. What a start for him.
Yeah, go on the bastard Doctor is what I'm going to say.
Wow.
He's going to look to hold... Oh, no. Oh, on full traction as well. On full traction, he's binned it.
Who sorry? Oh, York. Oh. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Yeah.
Well, Doctor is absolutely all over the place in the second sector then, and Maxwell's going to burn a little bit of that battery. He's going to look to the outside, he's going to get a little bit of a squeeze, and it's going to force him wide. Both drivers go wide then, and Mini's going to look to capitalise. He's going to have a look round the outside of the McLaren driver. Is he going to get the space? He is. It's very nicely done by the pair of them, and Mini gets through them, and he's going to get the DRS on the Ferrari driver, I think. He does. He managed to get within a second at the detection. And Darth Grey Fox then is going to look to capital. Oh, Bidley, we're going to go about 5 wide behind.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting into turn
Oh,
one.
my
The cars
Lord.
spread apart. It'll be a miracle if no one comes a keeper from this. And the Haas in the middle, very much squeezed there. Maxwell
Aston
looking
Martin
to
up
make
the
a
inside.
move.
Oh.
And there has been a crash then. Mini
Jimmy Dogs got involved enough.
Darth Grey Fox with a 5-second penalty for that collision. Take a note of that in case that comes into the stewards, because I think that might be a fair enough penalty for that move. We'll see if anything harsher might come in from the stewards. I'm Now Decent says, can you have an invite please, Mr. Revenge Zilla? He needs to get back into this race.
I've sent him at least 100 invites, I'll be honest. I've spent more time on the Xbox menus than I have actually watching the race.
We watched big Maxwell there, taking a big shunt through the...
Oh, Espenio and Piggle have gone side by
boards.
side, and Espenio's come off worse.
Oh dear.
Nigel Piggle strikes again. And that's going to be, it's looking like it's going to be another place for the Doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, his Doctor's got Paulie up the inside, then round the final corner. And I don't think Doctor's going to have the DRS, so Pauli's going to sit in behind momentarily, but he's going to open up that rear wing. And Doctor is flashing them, so Doctor's going to have to defend into turn one. Is he going to defend the inside? Pauli's going to have a look, but he's going to let off the brakes, and he's going to let the Doctor run wide, which he does. And he's going to look around the outside, but he can't get the move done. Yorkie's going to look for the switchback then on Paulie. He gets the better exit, and Yorkie's going to take that place off the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, decent then from Yorkie, looking to recover now after spinning the previous lap then. And while that was going on, the Doctor then, at the minute, has got front wing damage, it should be said. He is missing his left end fence on that front wing, which will, of course, hamper his downforce. I'm just wondering how much of time he'll lose from that. Looks like he's struggling at the moment then as Yorkie looks to try and make a move through the S's. Hard in mouth stuff there for LWS. Yorkie still looking to make the move, and there goes. The Doctor then is around.
That was a bit rude.
Oh, and Minnie
Oh
very
my
nearly
God.
comes a cropper. Maxwell's been disqualified for pointing the wrong way, and someone's hit him there.
We've got a pile up.
This is why do we race Mexico? Why does anyone choose to race this track?
It's so pony in the track. Anyway, at the front we've got Locker on the back of Nigel Piggle. Then Nigel Piggle has used all his battery, but Locker is equally as unhealthy when it comes to battery.
Yeah.
So GRM Doctor has said enough is enough, and he's going to get that front wing fixed.
Yeah, he was always going to struggle with that front wing on the middle part of this track lap, and yeah, he has now come in to replace it with a set of soft tyres then. And I think a lot of these drivers now very much needing a safety car to bring them back into this, and I don't think it's impossible that we see one, considering we saw about 4 yesterday. So there is still chance for all those in the field to get very much back into it should somebody fancy putting their car in the wall for everybody else.
Yeah, definitely a safety car is going to be necessary at some point. 8.3 second lead after 7 laps.
Yeah, he's been pretty much uninterrupted out in front and just got on with things. And while the other drivers behind him have battled and had controversial incidents, it is Adrian then who does lead by 8 seconds from Nigel Piggle then in P2 at the moment, with Locker hot on his tails on those hard tyres. And there you have it. There's a car in the wall, and there's the safety car. Thanks, Doctor. Cheers for that.
Oh dear.
You've
Really unlucky there for Doctor.
really unlucky for Doctor, but fantastic news for all of us. Now get to see the pack bunched up once again, and everybody getting their wish.
You prick.
Everyone getting their wish. And yeah, now then we will see once again the field all together, and it'll be interesting to see them eventually if anyone decides to take to the pits.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if any of the medium runners decide to. We saw some drivers have a little bit of trouble on the hards come the end of the race yesterday, so we'll see if any of these guys look to take that gamble. And the first one that's going to come up to the pit lane is going to be Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian in his Red Bull there. There is still around 30 laps to go to the end of this race, and he will carry on for now. The next driver on the mediums will be Nigel Piggle. Looks like he's struggling to adhere then to the Delta, but he carries on to then. So maybe slightly too early for these drivers to consider a change of tyres. And the Lapio Finn, P4 at the moment, having a great race so far. And here's Williams then up 4 at the minute. Nigel Piggle up 10, the biggest gainer so far. CTX as well, despite being spun around by 2 drivers, I think it was, a couple of laps ago. Dark Grey Fox, I think, who had that 5-second penalty given to him.
He's a lap down.
And yeah, that's less than ideal for Dark Grey Fox then, who will now be stuck behind the safety car. You can actually unlap yourself if you're watching the stream. You're quite close to the front of the safety car. I mean, give it a go. No.
Yeah, it's worth a go.
No.
I think honestly, it's worth him just taking the penalty, and then at least he's going to be on the right lap.
Yeah, he's not going past though.
If you're listening, Dark Grey Fox, give it a go, my son.
Yeah. Should we try and drop him a message? Do it. Come on.
I pinged him.
Ping
in
him.
Discord.
There we go.
Let's see if he gives it a go.
Yeah. Always Excalibur saying he did the safety car to give us a chance. Okay, we might.
Noble man.
We might have to sort that one out after the race. Darth Grey Fox, send him a message on Xbox. I want to see him get past. I want to see him unlap himself here, but he's not giving it a go.
Yeah, it makes me really sad that he's not going to get a chance to unlap himself. I think Adrian needs to do the right thing and just pull over to
Just
the
let
side.
him through, yeah, Adrian. If you're watching, just let him through. Just let him. Go, lads! Oh dear. Yeah. So we have got an unlapped car now in the way of this race. I want the restart as well. To be honest with you, that's part of the reason why I want him to get out of the way. He just wants to have a go at it. I know you could do it on the last game. Yeah. If I was him, I would have give it a go.
Oh, I'd be slinging out the inside of the safety car, I would.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he feels a bit differently. Law is having an absolute nightmare of a race. He has had a drive-through. He's on... Well, I can't see how many seconds of penalties he's got because he has a drive-through. He's got a 5-second for speeding. I think he's already got 2-3 seconds from corner cutting then. So we know this is a driver with pace. We've seen, of course, on his entry to the league what kind of pace he has, and it just looks like today he's got bad luck. No. It depends what it is, actually.
Have a look.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I've already said we'll sort that one out after the race. We'll sort that one out after.
Anyway, then let's have a look at the winners and losers then overall. Yeah. So position changes. It's Nigel Piggle, who did take out his good friend Espenio, which wasn't very kind. But Espenio has managed to recover.
Yeah.
Oh, I've actually spent more time inviting people than... It would help if half of you bastards actually appeared online as well.
Oh. Right. He's still there.
I am.
Yeah, well, good. I thought I'd lost you somehow there. Safety car in this lap, so Darth Grey Fox doesn't unlap himself. He does stay then.
Safety car's in this lap?
Yeah, safety car is in then, so Law still at the back
Oh,
of the field.
Law's in my mud.
He's got a drive through to serve anyway. He's not had the best of races so far, we'll be honest. But, yeah. Maybe we'll see him somehow get back into it. Anyway, Adrian is going to lead his teammate away. His teammate could do him a favour here by holding Nigel Piggle up, but it looks like he's going to try and get ahead of Adrian then, as he tries to follow the toe of his teammate. Nigel Piggle then is a long way back. He's got RSF1 Locker looking to have a sniff around the outside into turn 1. Shuts the door firmly on that opportunistic move for the Mercedes man. And there's an Aston Martin in the background. I think both Aston Martins out of shape. Plixty then is round, and CTX picking up another 3 seconds for cutting the corner there.
Yeah, it looks like Yorkie's caused a bit of a collision there. It started off with Mini tagging the back of CTX, and Mini having to then, let off because of the contact meant that Yorkie's just gone straight into the back of him, and he's caused an incident there. And it looks like it's just a case of, a bit of patience on the safety car restart. But CTX has managed to get away with it, and it's Locker that's then spun. So full traction runner's really struggling with the inside curb, and he's going to have to wait then for all the drivers to come round. Plixty's going to come up to the Locker.
Locker is another safety car.
Locker. The dreams.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh, Locker.
Well, Locker must have rear wing damage from that. He must have. He's just absolutely ruined Plixty's race there. No fault of Plixty at all.
Plixty has been shafted.
Can we get an apology out there to Plixty, please? We are very sorry for what RSF1 Locker has just done to you. He's in the pits for a new front wing and a set of soft tyres. He somehow is still in this race, where you are not. Mini's pit crew doing something.
Oh.
What?
I don't know, maybe leave the lobby and I'll invite you back, Mini.
Yeah, Mini is... Yeah. This has gone swimmingly well.
Oh, we love Code. We love Codemasters.
Yeah, Mini, if you want to leave the lobby, I think Revenger will invite you back, and hopefully that'll move your car. Fingers crossed.
He's gonna end up being a lap down.
Yeah, if you want to leave now, if you want to leave now.
Before you end up
there we go.
There we go. He's on the move. He's made it.
There we go. He's gone. Right.
Now he's got to put in a couple of stonking laps now. I hope you like your tyres warm, because they're going to be by the end of this.
I wonder if Law's going to pit now to serve this 5-second penalty he's got. No, he's carried on around Mini's back in the session. Well.
And his AI is not doing a stonking lap, I will admit.
Okay. Okay, I need to compose myself now.
I live for this shit. Honestly, I live for this.
I need to compose myself.
Blocker has apologised in the Discord.
Right.
He's not apologised in the Discord, he's apologised in the chat. We're yet to see.
I am so fucking sorry. Plixty says, something. What did he say? I've lost it. It was in the driver's chat. He said, "What are people doing?" But
He put, "What the fuck are people doing at all?" with
Well,
4 exclamation marks.
I think it's gone.
I think he posted it in the Div 2 chat, mate.
Oh. Did he?
Anyway, then,
Oh, yeah.
let's go on board here with Mini as he looks to try and set the fastest lap of the race then during the safety car period. Well, so Darth Grey Fox is still a lap down. He is now at the back of the
But
field.
Jimmy Dog's P5.
Oh my god! Wait,
Jimmy Dog's P5.
both AlphaTauri about 5 laps ago, both AlphaTauris were facing the wrong way in sector 1.
Yeah, Jimmy
And we're
Dog's.
now P4 and 5.
Jimmy Dog's pulled it out the bag. He's in the top 5.
Jimmy Dog does not piss about. Somehow Yorkie caused a massive collision on the last safety car restart and has ended up 3rd.
Yeah. How this has happened, I have no idea. He's on the best tyres as well.
Also-
6 lap on hard.
Also, I don't know if you noticed, but Nigel Pickle has jumped Adrian in the pits.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. sorry.
Great insight, yeah, cheers then, mate.
It's okay though, because Minnie's gonna get back on the back.
Is he actually? Oh, he is actually going to make it. His tyres are going to be up to temperature.
That was one of the highlights of the season so far. The race against the pack. It was put Jimmy Dog.
Oh,
Jimmy Dog. The pressure got to him.
I don't know if he was tagged. I don't know if he was tagged around or whether.
Jimmy Dog's
Are
lost.
we missing a front wing?
No, he's all right. I think
We're not.
I
We're
think
not.
he
We've
just
got a
goes down
front
the
wing.
wall.
All right, it's salvageable. It's points are still salvageable.
Jimmy Dog's lost his lid. He's on P5. Out of the points, P14. Safety
Right,
car
and then what
in
we said,
on
Mini-
this lap. Mini is there.
Mini's at the back of the pack, and after a full safety car, he's on 24% battery.
The Lapio Finn. Anyway, somehow is leading this race. It's going to lead us away
Wait, the
then
Lapio Finn's leading. Oh my
to the
god, what
safety
is that?
car
for?
restart. So here we go then. Safety car
Oh,
appeals
he's following
into
the
pit lane.
safety car. He's a bit close to the pit lane, mate.
And there we go, and he's gone, and has Espenio been caught napping? No, he hasn't, and LWS Yorkie then looking to make a fantastic move then, already before the braking zone gets ahead of the McLaren and into P2 then now. Can he get the toe on the Lapio Finn and make it 2 down the pit straight? Yorkie up the inside of Lapio Finn, then he'll be on the outside for turn 2, but back on the inside for 3, but the Lapio
great
Finn
racing.
has got enough traction
Comes
then.
Espenio.
Here comes Espenio, here, around the outside of LWS Yorkie. And Yorkie defends the place and keeps P2 for now. And then Espenio up the inside then for turn 5. Forces
Oh, they make
Yorkie
contact.
off the track. This is great racing from both drivers, and they're still side by side.
Yeah, Yorkie's going to look to stick it up the inside then into turn number 6, and he gets the move done. Nigel Piggin in the background had to just dab on the brake there to avoid the McLaren, who had to take a compromise line. And it is all status quo then. The Lapio Finn is going to lead us into the second lap post safety car. Nigel Piggle then having a look at the inside of Espenio. Nothing doing there, but one person who's looking to make inroads on the fresh softs is CTX, and he's just been pushed wide by Adrian, and CTX is... I don't really know what's happening with him, but he's got pinched on the inside. He's just lost about 4 positions. And one person who's like a fox in the box, he's a poacher. He's like Jermaine Defoe in his prime. It's TJM, and he's going to look to make a double overtake then down into turn number 1. He's got Bawley, and I'm now decent in his sights, and he's going to let off the brakes early. Just wait to see what is going on up in front, and it looks to be a little bit of carnage with Adrian in the mixer.
Yeah.
What a safety car restart lap that was. I need to catch my breath.
Yeah, fantastic stuff then. Great racing from all the guys throughout the field and nobody round at the moment. Jimmy Dog has fallen off
Yes.
the back of the pack in 15th. He was running as high as 5th before losing it behind the safety car. Bit of a George Russell fraud, Jimmy Dog, but he's carried on without damage. Here's Adrian now, all over the back then of Viking Beast, and taking them to the escape road across the chicane. That's not decent there. There's a yellow flag out, and it is I'm Now Decent who is around. And there we go, Adrian up the inside of Viking Beast. A bit brash then from Adrian, and behind as well, CTX. And I think that's TJM both running off the road as
close.
well.
Oh, TJM just turning across poorly. That was a bit naughty from Mr. Head Steward, but nonetheless, they keep it moving.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're going 4 wide in the background. It's the 2 Mercs alongside the Alpine. The Ferrari's Law is looking to get involved. We're going on board then with Law as he looks into turn 1. Oh, he pulls out the slipstream and he goes, oh my Lord.
Oh, and there goes, look, oh.
Oh, that was a bit ambitious on the brakes from the Ferrari drive. Oh, God, and there goes Mini.
Yeah, that was always going to happen with 4
Oh,
or 5 cars into turn 1. That was
Lord.
never going to end well. But fortunately, it looks like only Mini has come off poorly from that. And he's been in the walls today.
Jimmy Dog is 1 step closer to the point.
Come on, the Jimmy Dog.
Oh no, Piggle.
Oh, Nigel
Oh, bit of a
Piggle.
safer rejoin, please. Oh, wow.
Nigel Piggle then, who was in the net lead of this race around in the Sector 2 then, is rejoined in P10 just ahead of the mighty Jimmy Dog then. So Jimmy Dog out of the points still for now. But, yeah, that's a big shame for Nigel Piggle, as I think Law has now, after causing a bit of a carnage at turn 1, has now gone round and is rejoining P14.
Yeah, CTX then making his way past the Viking Beast. Viking Beast is on the 17 lap. Old Hard, he's going to be looking at the box in the next few laps. But CTX on the fresh softs makes his way past. He's got his sights set now on the Red Bull.
Yeah, Law into the pits then. Will he now decide to call it a day? He's not had the best of days so far, unfortunately. Nigel Piggle pits for the soft tyres. I think he might have had some damage in all of that, but has rejoined them in P14 on those soft tyres. Law is going to continue on a set of hards then. He's not giving up just yet. And the Ferrari man will come back into the race then. But in all of this, up top, Adrian is now back up to 4th place in his plucky Red Bull. He's had the pace today really over everybody else, as Viking Beast picks up a 3-second tyre penalty for corner cutting then. But the top 4 all avoiding penalties at the moment, so that's how they run. And you'd probably have to say Revengula, the 2 drivers that don't have to pit before the end of the race now, LWS Yorkie and Adrian, will they try and take those hard tyres till the end?
Adrian definitely so. I think it's going to be a bit touch and go for Lewis Yorkie as to whether he can make it to the end or not. In the background, we've got Mini has had a bit of an off in the second sector. He looks like he's going to get going again, so it's not going to affect the race at the moment. He's going to let his teammate by, and Jimmy Dog is in P10.
Jimmy Dog's made it. He's in the points. He's batteryless in the points, but he's there. And can he hold on then to P10 till the end of the race now then? Believe it or not, we are only just past half distance.
Oh my God.
I had this yesterday in the Division 1 race. I could not believe how long it went on for. But with 2 safety cars for 3 or 4 laps, that will happen.
36 laps is only, 3 laps shy of the Monaco race. And this one's in like the, 1 minute 20s. Oh, CTX he's had a bit of trouble. Let's have a look. Is he going to do a better rejoin than Lockup? It is. He had a little bit more time to get through. And he's going to let those drivers behind through. Jimmy Dog somehow has lost the place to Lockup. Fuming.
Yeah, knock on those soft tyres, making them work.
Come on,
to
JD.
get ahead of the JD down to
Come on, JD.
P11. RSF will lock now on the tail end of I'm Now Decent. I mean, this has probably been the scruffiest race we've probably had, really.
Oh,
In
sorry to
CTO.
interrupt. Adrian up the inside of Espenio then into turn one. They're going to continue to go side by side, and Adrian is going to get the move done. And Espenio tried to get on the power early to get a better exit, and he completely lost the back end, and that's going to leave him vulnerable now to the Viking Beast.
Yeah. Traction zone not really working there for Espenio on those 19-lap-old hard tyres compared to Adrian's 8-lap-old. As I was saying there, I mean, this has probably been the scruffiest race we've had this season, really, in Division 2. We've had some fantastic racing so far. I mean, do you think that's just down to the track? I mean, we've seen drivers have a bit of a nightmare through the middle part of the lap, and that run down to turn one really does set it up for quite a few incidents with the long straight. Do you think it is just track specific?
Yeah, absolutely. Some tracks are, they're more difficult than others. Sorry, in the background, it looks like Borley's made his way round the outside of TJM then at turn number 12. TJM's going to lead in the space. He's going to look for a switchback, and this is going to be unbelievable from TJM if he can pull it off. But I think with 8-lap-old soft tyres, they're definitely going to be past their best now. Who is going to get the benefit of the DRS then? He might not need to use any battery to burn past Borley, but Borley does have about 50% more battery. So if he does want to defend, he can choose to do so. But he chooses not to.
Yeah, TJM then up into 6th place for now. Then he was on the podium last week. P2 in the race around Portimao. Not looking likely for a podium at the moment though, but there is still 16 laps to go of this race, believe it or not. And it is still LWS Yorkie then out in front at the moment by about 3 seconds then ahead of 2nd place the Lapio Finn, who is now being caught then by Adrian, who's been the man with all the pace so far in the race. He had 8-second advantage before the first safety car, so definitely when he is in the groove has the advantage over the rest of the field, but needs to clear the Lapio Finn here and try to cruise up to the back of the Alpine up in front at the moment. Then as the Viking Beast now within half a second here of Espenio and looking to have a move for P4 there down the main straight. Jimmy Dog picking up another penalty. Has he pitted? Is that 21 lap old?
I think he boxed lap 1.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
Adrian's going to look to get the move then on the Lapio Finn. As he gets the move done relatively easy. Let's head to Twitch chat now then. And got a question for you guys. Do we think Lewis Yorkie is going to make it to the end? They're going to be 28 or 29 laps old, those hard compound tyres, come the end of the race. Do we think he can make it? Or do we think that he's going to have to conserve so much that Adrian's going to catch him and maybe force him into using a bit more of that tyre life? David thinks no initially. He doesn't think he's going to make it. Oh, as Adrian gets a big old swapper on the exit of turn number 6 then. As he's starting to push now, as he needs to build, or bridge, the 3-second gap to Yorkie up in front.
Thank you for that, David. Clear and concise insight there with the NO.
Yeah.
We'd love to see it.
You didn't need to write us a novel.
Yeah, straight to the point, love to see it. Adrian then ahead now of the Lapio Finn and has broke that DRS barrier then, that 1 second gap that the Lapio Finn needed to be within to get the DRS. He has fallen out of, and he has now fallen into the pit lane, and will look to put then the medium tyres on, you'd imagine at this stage, till the end of the race. And let's watch his pit stop then as the McLaren in as well of Espenio, who was behind him on track. And it is the medium tyres there for both drivers. Espenio, good start for him and out of the box. Doesn't get the jump though, but does come out quite close in to the Lapio Finn.
Well, the Lapio Finn did a really good job in this race so far, and he's going to get onto those medium tyres, and we're really going to see what pace he has got in that Williams. He's come out just behind the Lord and Saviour. It'll be interesting to see how quickly he can get past him. Another driver who's going to make a bid to get towards the points is I'm Now Decent. He's got a big ass of what looks like about 15 seconds to get forward towards the points. Speto also out the box then. He's on the fresh mediums, and these two are going to go to the end, and they're going to look to, make a bid for the podium, I think.
Yeah, still got the Viking Beast come into the box. Belente will more than likely as well have to pit, so that would put them around P4. And we'll have to see then what happens to those hard tyre runners out in front. So if we look at the gap now to the leader, Spenio and the Lapio Finn 27 and 28 seconds and behind LWS Yorkie at the moment with 13 to go now in this race. So the hunt for them really, as you said now, is that P3 probably, that podium place, which at the minute on track is Ballies after Viking Beast comes into the pits. As the Lapio Finn then looking to make an easy move on Jimmy Dog. I mean, you raced around here yesterday, Revengilla. Did you find that this straight with the DRS was just so easy to overtake on?
No, because I wasn't as quick as the people around me. But yeah, and I did sit behind Groundsy for about 20 laps. So if anything, I think it's quite difficult to overtake. But it really depends on what you like in the second sector. As CTX is retired in the box, that is enough for him. But yeah, it's all about the second sector. Getting close to your rival in front is crucial, because you want to follow really closely around the third sector in order to be close enough to make a move down into turn number 1. Because if you're not close enough, you're going to have to use way too much battery to get close to the drivers in front. And the battery is notoriously hard to come by around Mexico, not regenerating very well at all. As back to the action, we've got Adrian slowly chipping away then at Lewis Yorkie. Gap down to 2.7.
Yeah, this is now the fight for the lead, of course. Both drivers penalty free as it stands, so this will be won on track at the moment. And Adrian doing all he can with that 4-lap tyre advantage, and the gap down to 2.6 then, with 12 to run here in this Division 2 race around Mexico, where we see into this one our championship leader, which is Revengilla.
Back to you in the studio, Billy.
LWS Yorkie out in front at the
championship leader. Billy, the championship leader's LWS Yorkie, and he's out in front at the moment. And if you really wanted to know, that Belente is second in the championship.
Is he? Is he now? That's good. That's good for you. That just comes to
yeah. And Jimmy Dog is 17th in the standings at the minute. But if he does get a point, that'll take him up to 6th.
Yeah. Well, you would love to be in 16th, I imagine.
Do you reckon he's going to try and go to the end? Is old JD?
JD, it'll be a very tall order. But if he boxes now, he will fall very much out of the points, so I don't really see what he's got to lose.
David seems to think that Yorkie is not going to make it to the end. If he wasn't going to make it to the end, you'd like to think he'd have come in the box pretty soon, and actually given himself a chance to use the fresher tyres. The gap is now down to 2.1, so Adrian has gained 0.6 of a second on that lap. Jimmy Dog's in the box.
God. And the reason we know he's in the box is he's going to have a lovely 5-second penalty to go with it then. So
otherwise I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah. On to a set of softs then for good old JD. And he'll rejoin then around P11 with I'm Not Decent, then just flashing past him now. So yeah, let's see what he can do, whether he can get back into the points today. Fingers crossed for the Jimmy Dog. We do need him to get off the mark at some stage. 5 drivers in TTL without a point, and the only one of those really that has got a realistic chance of changing that today is Nigel Pickle at the moment in P9. But don't write off good old JD. Let's see if he can get into the points and back out in front anyway. At the minute, we have got Adrian, who's got the gap down to 1.7 then from him and Yorkie. So definitely the pace is with him at the moment. And we are in round 4 now, Revengilla, and it's a bit early to start thinking about the championship. But, Adrian at the moment, 10 points in TTL. LWS Yorkie, 35, I should say, 25 points between them. It is one of those where if Adrian, he knows Adrian's quicker, he just doesn't really find it too hard and just thinks about picking up the points.
Yeah, it's all very close at the top of the standings, so really a couple of position changes here and there can make a big difference to how the standings will look come the end of the race. Obviously, we expect to see quite a few clips into the stewards, so these results will be provisional. But nonetheless, it will be important to get these moves done on track as the gap is now down to 1.4. Jimmy Dog has got past Piggle. Oh, Piggle's in the box. And he's come out right behind Jimmy Dog. It is going to be a case of a bit of a shark attack here from Piggle. He is going to be on Jimmy Dog like a rash.
Yeah, Nigel Piggle's fresh, soft tyres. As to really though Jimmy Dog, but you'd imagine Nigel Piggle would have a pace advantage over the AlphaTauri driver, so not too long before we see that Haas ahead. He is ahead on penalties nonetheless, but he needs to get it done on track if he wants to try and get more than just the 1 point today. As out in front, that gap now down to 1.3 then, so we might have a fight in our hands in the next couple of laps for the lead then, as Belente is the latest driver to come into the pits, as Jimmy Dog is round in sector 2. Good old JD is backwards again, but he has carried on and still remains in P11 for now.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Anyway, it looks like Viking Beast is going to try and do the entire race on the hards. If he can do it, this is going to be a monumental effort.
Well, if he
He
pit
definitely deserves of a podium if he can do it.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, as Adrian then a 3-second time penalty. That'll be crucial come the end of the race. But anyway, Viking Beast, if he did pit now, would come out just behind RSF1 Locker in P7 then, I think. Or just ahead of him maybe. So he might think about the soft tyres. And as I say that, he is into the box. There you go. He shut us all up. He is going to.
They're really starting to tease us.
Yeah. I don't think there's any way he was going to get those tyres another 8 laps. And he is into the box for a set of the soft compound tyres. Rejoins the race then. And as I mentioned, he is going to come out then ahead of RSF1 Locker into P6. So still very much the opportunity here potentially for a P4 for Viking Beast if he can get onto the back of a Spedio and the Lapio Finn then, but both those drivers
He's
without
going to have to get a
penalties.
move on. It looks like we've had a double incident then at Sector 2.
Oh!
For some reason the safety car is out even though... Oh no. Jimmy Dog and TJM both had a spin in Sector 2 and the full safety car has come out.
Yeah, Jimmy Dog and TJM both front wingless at the
And
moment.
Adrian's just got a penalty.
No, Adrian's had a penalty for a while.
No, breaking news, Biddy. Adrian has got a penalty.
No.
Your co-commentator, Revengezilla, has just realised that Adrian's got a penalty. This is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. One day you will listen
This
to
is-
what I say. On the stream.
You waffle on. Oh, they're all coming into the box as well. It's going to be fresh sauce.
Oh!
My Lord, Adrian.
Well,
Oh, Yorkie got a 5-second pen.
what have I just
He's
seen?
double stacking him.
And he's double stacking behind TJM.
TJM's flooded him. Oh no, is Bawley going to jump him? Oh, Bawley stayed out.
Well, he stayed out there, so I don't think he's going to lose anything in terms of position. Oh, his car's not going. His car's not going.
Oh no.
He's had the mini glitch. His car is stuck in the garage. He's left the session. He's cottoned onto that straight away.
he knew the glitch when he saw it.
Yeah, but he has lost out here, and he's now
Oh,
behind.
is he appearing offline? I can't find his name.
Well, he's now behind
He is appearing offline.
Viking Beast RSF1 Locker in the hunt here.
Oh, we need to have a look at the pens now because the top 5 have all got pens.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, this is really throwing a spanner in the works.
I don't really know.
Lapio Finn.
I don't really know though what I've just seen from Adrian. That for me was.
I mean, he's been penalised for it.
Yeah. Well, well, Adrian got a 5-second for speeding in the pit lane. Which, yeah, he did speed into the pit lane.
I mean, I'm sure if Yorkie puts that clip into the stewards, he can get his 5-second penalty removed.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. That without question, that'll be removed. Yeah. That will be taken straight.
Which will
off him.
put him in the net race lead come penalties.
Yeah. Yeah. So good news for you, Yorkie. You will have that 5-second remove. We can safely say that now. Adrian, well, we'll see what happens before deciding if he should.
Yeah, we expect a little bit better from admin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you've gone on board with the Lapio Finn at any point in the last 2 laps or so, but he is. I'm not sure of him lagging, but there's definitely some movement.
Yeah, I just had Yorkie doing a nice old jump as well, and he's left the session again.
That would be more than likely be because I think Yorkie is mudded.
Yeah.
And once again, it's always the people appearing offline that want an invite, and I have to scroll all the way down.
Well, what an inconvenience for you. TJ says, who is host? It was Adrian, and then he glitched off the start, and then he left, so he handed it to somebody else, if you're watching the stream. So, yep. It wasn't him, it was somebody else. Who knows? I have no idea. And it would appear that the lobby isn't fantastic. But, nonetheless, we have got another 5 laps to go here. Yorkie, don't worry, my friends. Don't race with that 5-second on your mind, because that will be taken off before the end, well, at the end of the race. Adrian, sort yourself out, lad. Don't know what you're playing at. We will see whether you have any further punishment, you naughty man. As the safety car looks like it's going to stay out again, whether we get a late call into the box remains to be seen. There we go. It's a late one then, so we will have...
It's going to be Bawley to lead us away.
Yep, 5 laps of racing with Bawley at the front of the field, giving us a restart.
19 lap old hard.
Yep. And here we go. If you want to lead us away then, Revenge on this restart from Bawley.
Oh, you've really dropped me in the mud here. Then he has left Adrian for dead. Oh wait, no, wait, who's that behind him? Is that a lap car? That's not the Jimmy Dog, is it?
I think it's Darthway Fox. Oh, is it Jimmy Dog?
No,
it is the Jimmy Dog.
Sorry.
It is the Jimmy Dog.
It's the Jimmy Dog then getting involved.
Oh,
Adrian tanked him. Adrian's just absolutely tanked him.
Oh dear. Adrian absolutely sending it then. On the inside.
But Adrian, you're going to have to accelerate, mate, or you're going to cause a safety car.
Adrian absolutely sending it up the inside of Jimmy Dog. David Oldface in the chat, Karma supposedly. Jimmy Dog getting out the way of everybody.
Jimmy Dog doing a great job here. Great job, Jimmy.
That's a nice way. That's a nice way to get out of everybody.
Viking Beast is flying.
Yeah, Viking Beast then on the back of Bawley now. 3 seconds for him. This is, as it stands, a net P3, I think, with the Lapia thing. No, it's a net P2 when we remove Yorkie's penalty then. So, as it stands, he needs to get ahead of Bawley.
TJM's had a stinker.
TJM, now around, it should be said that Bawley hasn't pitted then. 20 lap old hard tyres. So, less than ideal for Bawley, and looks like Viking Beast is going to make the most of that then. Down the pit straight now, and even before we get to the braking zone of turn 1, the AlphaTauri then takes the lead of the race away from Bawley, and let's see what he can do now then as LWS Yorkie trying to make his way and keep touch with those ahead of him, of course.
Yeah, it looks like the Lapio Finn's going to start to put Yorkie under pressure then. He gets a much better exit. And the Lapio Finn then is going to take the net race of the lead. Net race of the lead? Net lead of the race.
You have to P3 then, the gap.
He's going to have to really get a move on though if he's going to get within the gap of Viking Beast.
Yeah, Viking Beast I think only on 3 seconds of time penalties at the moment, if I can find the thing. There we go, 3 seconds for him then. So...
yeah, so the Lapio Finn's got his work cut out here if he wants to win this race.
Okay, as too does Yorkie then. He does need to be within 3 seconds of Viking Beast still once that penalty is removed. So he's got some work to do with 4 on the board. as Viking Beeson leads us on to lap 34 now. 3 laps to go. DRS now enabled for these last 3 laps.
Yorkie's in the box.
Oh.
Oh, it's going to serve his 5-second pen as well.
Ah.
Oh, no.
Oh, Christ. Oh, Lord.
Belente's going to look to make a move then on Nigel Piggle. He's going to decide against it. He's going to run incredibly wide. It's going to leave the gap open then to I'm Now Decent to sneak up the inside. Belente gives him the room. A little bit too kind there, I think, from Belente. Really could have demanded some more space on the road, but nonetheless, he lets I'm Now Decent through, and Nigel Piggle is away to chase down the top 5. A little bit of an update on the Lapio Finn then. He's currently not within 3 seconds of Viking Beast, so as it stands, the Viking Beast is going to win this race.
Aldo Jockey into the pits and rejoins in P9 now then, so still on the board for some points at the moment despite the late controversy. Then TJM getting another 3-second time penalty as Mini then drops out the top 10 with his spin. That promotes Darth Grey Fox now into the top 10. So he's currently going to get a point for Red Bull, where Adrian was able to score none. And the Lapio Finn now then, 5 seconds back from the leader at the moment. He needs to find another couple of seconds on these final 2 laps to take the win away from Viking Beast. But he is currently in good stead to get P2 at the moment. You'd have to say Revengula, RSF1 Locker, currently sits a net P2 on the road. Well, P3 I should say, after Lapio Finn takes it. But after what we saw earlier, do you think he's going to keep that podium?
I would be very, very surprised.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. Anyway, as we have then 2 to go now, and we're halfway around the first of those 2 laps I should say, as RSF1 Locker gets another 3-second time penalty to serve then. It's going to be very interesting to see what this does to the times at the end, as TJM has had another nightmare. In sector 2, Jimmy Dog's got himself 35 seconds of penalties. Great stuff.
Yeah. So then we'll come on to the final lap, and Viking Beast is going to lead us onto it then. The Lapio Finn is still going to be fighting for positions because he has got a potential P2 on the cards. Also, Nigel Piggle has got a chance of a podium. The Lapio Finn is going to get overtaken by Espenio into turn 1, and that's not going to do himself any favours, but it looks like the drivers in 2nd and 3rd have both got 6 seconds of time penalties. So that means Nigel Piggle and Espenio have both got a real chance here at the podium.
Yeah, very much so. We're on the last lap now then. TJM choosing to call it a day on the last lap then into the box for him. Let's have a look at these penalties then one last time to see what they're going to do to the final order, as it does look like then that Viking Beast is going to get his first win in TTL. He's the only driver to make only 1 stop in the field. We saw him protect those hard tyres a long way. Perhaps the safety car saved him at the end of the race. The fireworks do go off for the right man at the front of the field today, as Viking Beast then comes around the final corner to take the win in the Division 2 race around Mexico. At least on the road, it's going to be Bawley who comes P2, but then very much replaced then by the penalties. It's the Lapio Finn then on the podium for Williams, P2 for him. Nigel Piggle, P3, gets his first points and a podium at the same time in TTL. Espenio P4, Bawley misses out on P4 by 11 thousandths of a second and takes P5. Mercedes teammate just behind him in RSF1 Locker in P6 then. And well, that was a very interesting race with some very interesting incidents, which I imagine this final order of drivers might change very much come the stewards report that will be released obviously after the race. But here is the podium then, and there is your race winner. I don't know how many people would have picked him to win the race today, but he has come out on top. The Viking Beast taking the win, taking the trophy then. And there you have it. I don't know if he is Canadian, but he's got the Canadian flag above him.
TJM has very much got his work cut out with this race director. Holy shit.
Yeah, interesting there. And well, questionable instance from, I would say, every single. I don't really think many drivers had a clean race. Lapio, Finn, perhaps the podium finishers had a quiet race. Nigel Piggle, I think, getting involved in some instance though. But there is your classification then. As I said, the top 6 final point finishers were Valente then P7, I'm Now Decent P8, LWS Yorkie, tough luck for him, P9 for Alpine, and then Mini rounding off the top 10. And then we go into those that missed out on points today. Darth Grey Fox very close to the points, but P11 for him. Jimmy Dog gets ever closer to his first points, P12. TJM, who had a few incidents in the race, not quite the same race as last week, P13. Adrian, who had the pace today to really win the race, P14. CTX, Law, Blixty, Doctor, and Maxwell then all not finishing as well. As I'll quickly remember then to grab the race director, as otherwise I'll get told off.
I've already done it.
There you go. Oh, well, you've done it this time. There you go, lovely stuff.
I've remembered for once in my life.
Absolutely fantastic. Well done. Anyway, that is the end of the 4th round of Division 2 in TTL Season 1. There is only one more order of business, of course, on our streams, and that is Revengezilla, our driver of the day. Who are you going to give driver of the day to this evening?
Yeah, it's got to go to Viking Beast. It is his first win in TTL. He had a really, really impressive stint on the hards, and he pulled the gap at the end when it mattered. So yeah, he is our driver of the day.
Yeah, definitely could not agree with that one more. So congratulations to you. But as I said, that's all we got time for this evening, and we, as I mentioned yesterday, are back next week with our 5th round at Monza. That's a sprint race, our first sprint race next week, so that'll be very interesting watching. So tune into that one. I've put the wrong date in there. It's not the 4th of October, that's today. It's next Monday, which is the 10th of October at 8 PM UK time. And as I've already mentioned as well, we have got our friends over at the URC, our league partnership with them. They are racing this Friday and Saturday. The next up for them is their main league race on Friday. It's also around Mexico, so good luck with that one. That gets underway at 7:30 UK time. All the dates are wrong on here, you know what's going on. Watch that one live on twitch.tv
I wonder who's responsible.
/URC, and then it is round 12 of FPRL with our friends over there. They're racing at a slightly, well, for some people, better track in France. That kicks off tomorrow night at 8 PM, running until Friday. But as I've mentioned, that's all we got time for. Thank you very much for watching along. If you watched the race yesterday and today, it's been a little bit of a different week this week compared to last week. But be sure to tune in for that sprint race next week, because that is going to be very interesting, if anything, if this was to the standards to go off, because 2 races instead of 1 could only mean more trouble, really. But hopefully everyone gets their act in order. Monza's not really a bad track, is it, Revengezilla? It's a bit better than...
That's wank.
It's better. So it's got to be a little bit better than Mexico. Thank you for joining me tonight, Revengezilla. I'm sure I'll be talking to you this same time next week.
It is a pleasure as always.
Yeah, very much so. And until then, take care, and I will see you, hopefully,